Peace. This is Watch for Wise Words Media back at y'all for another round. And man, the New York Yankees are the hottest thing in town right now. They went out, started the season on the West Coast road trip, took 2 series out there, beating the Mariners. The Mariners, they remind me a lot of the Detroit Pistons in the NBA. They're going to be like a young, up-and-coming trouble team, man. They're a team that made it to the playoffs last year, gave some trouble, and they're going to be tough. But for the Yankees to go out there, start the season, snatch a series over there, I mean, a couple dominant pitching performances from Fried and the Schlittler. I don't know who was right? Or can two things be right at the same time? Because many Yankee fans, including myself, were upset that it looked like the Yankees was just staying put. They weren't active in the off season. And you're seeing a bunch of people, winter meetings come and go, a bunch of teams making moves, people finding new homes, and the Yankees haven't got anybody. So it seems like we were just staying put. And when asked about it, Brian Cashman vehemently said, no, this is not running it back. This is a different Yankee team. Funny thing is, when Jazz Chisholm was asked about it, he said, oh yeah, we running it back. This is a run back. You know, this is a talented team. So what? Who was actually right, you know? Or can both things be right at the same time, you see? Because the Yankees, although they didn't make any huge splashes during the offseason, which is, you know, typical Yankee fashion, what they did do, they invested all their stock into re-signing Bellinger. Bellinger had a really good season with the Yankees last year, and they made it a top priority to re-sign him. But you also, in addition to re-signing Bellinger, they re-signed guys like Ahmed Rosario. They went and acquired guys like Blackburn and Weathers to help with the pitching. So it was some additions, but it wasn't the big sexy additions. And now you got to look at where Jazz is saying. Jazz is like, yeah, all our key pieces are back. You know, we're running it back. And this is the same, you know, this is the same team. But he said this is a championship caliber team. This team can compete for a title. You got to go back to the end of last regular season. Both the Yankees and Toronto had the same record, right? Toronto was a World Series team, and the Yankees in Toronto virtually were tied to end the season. So that in and of itself kind of tells you that Jazz is correct. This is a team that can compete, that can win. And also, Brian Cashman is correct, because last year we didn't start the season with Schlittler. Schlittler came late into the season, and he wasn't even introduced like this big prospect, like the way that Jason Dominguez was the alien and the Martian coming, and he was like this big prospect, highly touted, that when he came up, it was like, okay, he's here. With Schlittler, it wasn't like that. Schlittler was just filling in holes. And next thing you know, Schlittler starts catching some eyes, starts having some dominant performances, and then he really arrived in that closeout game against Boston in the playoffs. So now you're looking at what Cashman is saying. We got a whole season with Schlittler now, right? Last year, we didn't have Garrett Cole the whole season. Max Fried was our number one, and he did a good job. He did a solid job. He kind of gassed out towards the end of the season, but for the most part, he did a solid job filling in for Garrett Cole as our ace. Now, next month, the ace comes back. Now we get Garrett Cole. So you're going to have Garrett Cole as your ace, Max Fried as your number 2. You know how many teams would sell the farm to have Max Fried as their number 1? We're getting Max Fried as our number 2 this season. So we get Cole back, Fried 2, and then at 3, the Schlittler, who just broke another Yankee record yesterday. The first Yankee, off the top, I can't remember the stat, but he was the first Yankee in like X amount of starts to have X amount. So you got the Schlittler at 3, and let's not forget we getting Carlos Rodon back. Rodon at 4. Carlos Rodon at 4. I'll take Rodon at 4 any day, because when Rodon is on, oh, he's on. You know, he had a lot of solid starts last year. And then, you know, you got guys that can fill out that back. You got Heel that's coming back. You got guys Warren. There's different guys that you could throw in at that back half. You could even, the rotation is so deep that you don't even have to rush Cole for every 5 days. You could give Cole a day off. Now, this rotation is a lot more different than it was last year. Again, Max Fried was your number 1. Rodon was like your number 2. Now, you're going to have Garrett Cole, your number 1. You're going to have Fried, your number 2. Schlittler 3, and Rodon goes back to 4. That's a solid. I put our 3. Our front 3 up against any front 3 in the in MLB. I think we have the best top 3 starters in all of baseball. So I think both of them are right from their perspectives. I think they're both right. They're not completely running it back because there are some additions to the pitching staff, and we are getting healthier. Now we are getting Cole back. We're getting Rodon back. We're getting Heel. Like, this is going to be, now you have Schlittler, who you didn't have to start the season last year. So the depth in the rotation is vastly different from last year. And, you know, yes, Jazz is right too, because there were no big sexy splashes. The biggest sexiest splash was re-signing Bellinger. But this was also a team that competed, made it to the playoffs, won a playoff series, and was tied with Toronto for the best record, you know, in the East. So either way, no matter how you carve it, whether running it back, whether it's not whether we're not running it back, this is a different team, however you carve it, they're off to a great start. I like what I'm seeing, and I think the Yankees are poised to make another ALCS at bare minimum. Or hey, if this thing really starts to take off once we get Cole back, Rodon back, and if Big G, the first Yankee player ever, first 5 games to have 2 or more hits in the first 5 games. Like, if Big G could keep this up, tall order, I know, but if he could keep this up, couple that, and Judge ain't even hitting yet. Judge is not even hitting yet. So we could get all of that, Judge to hit, Big G to at least stay somewhat consistent, and we get Cole, Rodon, add that to the mix. Man, I think this team is really poised for another big run. But what say you? Drop some bars in the comment section. I'm Wise for Wise Words Media. Peace.